I'm Blaine Carter. Together, we're going to be exploring the what, why, and how of open source technologies. This is a quick video on how to create a database using Oracle's cloud. We're going to begin in the dashboard of the Oracle Cloud My Services page, and we will click Create Instance. We will locate the database option there. We'll click Create. This will take us to the service panel for the database section of Oracle's cloud. Once we're here, you can see previous databases that may have been created, summary of all of your stuff, but we're just going to click Create Service. On this first page, we're just going to define a little bit of information about the service we're creating. Of course, I want to give it a name, so My Cool Database. You probably should give it a description, that type of stuff. If anything goes wrong here, you'll want to enter your email so that it can email you notifications. That's optional. I'm going to leave that blank for this demonstration. I would rather be on Oracle 12c Release 2, so I will change the release there. Here you can also switch between standard and enterprise and extreme performance, so forth. I'm just going to leave it on Enterprise Edition, and we're just going to make a single instance. So with that, I'm going to click Next. And here we're going to give it a little bit more information about the actual database that we're going to create. If you'd like to change the DB name there, you can change that here, the PDB name, so forth. We will want to give it an administration password. This is the password that we're going to use for system, that type of stuff, so you want to make it a good password. You can change the amount of storage you're going to use, so forth here. Now the compute shape, this will determine how many OCPUs are consumed by this database. So if you need a larger size than the small OC3 one, you could switch that here. I'm going to leave mine as OC3. We do have the ability to access this new database. It's going to be stood up on an Oracle Compute instance using SSH. You could just choose a file if you already have a public key generated, or you could create a new one, or you can just enter the value here. This is one that I already pre-generated, and so I'll just enter that there. So with the public key in, now if you're going to do this for production, of course you're going to want to have a backup and recovery strategy, and you'll want to set all of this up. However, I am not going to create a backup. I'm just using this database to play around with, so I will set that to none. If you did have a backup, you could create a new one from the backup, but with that, that's all the information that we need to get a quick database set up. So we'll click Next. That'll take us to a summary panel. Here on the summary panel, we can see a little more information about everything we're planning to do, and that all looks good. So let's hit Create. All right, and that will switch us over to a summary here. You can see where we are creating MyCoolDB. The status is creating service, a little more information about what's going on here. Now this can take a couple minutes or up to an hour or two. I'm not sure the max time on that. The longest I've had one take was a little over an hour, and that really depends on what else is going on in the background. I'm on a shared account with some other people, so mine may be queued up and take a little bit longer. So at this point I'm going to cut, and I will come back once this is all done. All right, the database creation has finished, and right now we're back at the on the dashboard, and you can see down here in the database section we have 2 instances. If you click that little number 2, you can jump straight to the database panel that you can use to control all of your cloud databases. And you can see here we have MyCoolDB, a little bit of information there. Now, since this is newly created, one thing that we will want to do, since I plan to connect to it using SQL is we click on this little settings button over here, and we go into access rules. In here, we'll want to find the one that shows public internet port 1521, and we will click on the settings icon here, and we will enable that. We'll click enable in the Are You Sure? And now that is enabled. So let's jump back over to my cool DB. And in here, we're going to get the information we're going to need to use to connect. So to start off with, we want to use the public IP address that you can find down here in the resources. And then if you hover over the connection string, it will pop up the full string here. And for the way I plan to connect, I am just going to take the service name from that part right there and copy that. All right, with that information, I'm going to switch over to a terminal, and you can see here I'm going to run SQL.cl. I'm going to connect as sys, and I'm going to use the IP address that we got from down by the public IP and the service name that we got out of that little pop-up, and then I'm going to connect as sysdba. And it's going to ask us for the password. We'll put in our super secret password. We hit enter, and we are now connected to our new database. And we'll run a little query, select sysdate from dual, and that's it. Right now I'm connected as sys with sysdba, and I can start doing anything I'd like to with this database. So let's exit out of that and close the terminal. All right, if you have any questions, post them down in the comments. If you find this video useful, please like it and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for spending your time with me.